All right, guys. Fulu coming to you with another video, or another commentary. If you're like sensitive to certain things, I just really suggest that you don't watch this one. I suggest that you maybe like pass this video up, because even me myself, I didn't really want to do it, but because it's a very sensitive video. But again, it just goes back to how. And I hate to say this, I really hate to say this. And I'm not saying it just happens in this society, but it it happens in other societies, but uh, not maybe to this level. But let me go ahead and get into it. You have a single mother, who she had a Pookie and a Ray Ray before, and she decided to go to a Chad, you know, and and these were the results. And the reason why I'm doing this is to show that, like, you have a lot of people, like a lot of modern Western women who are pro swirlers and things like that, and they glorify their swirling and things, and make it out to look like people are missing something if they don't swirl, uh, but she had six kids, and you know this is kind of why you shouldn't mess with Western women, because they're unstable. For the most part, if a Western woman has a large body count, then it usually means that she's unstable. You know, if a Western woman is like a single mother, very rarely will they be stable, psychologically. But let's get into it.
October 24th, officers received a phone call from a 15-year-old boy. He was home alone with his little brothers, aged 7 and 10 years old. Many people, including law enforcement, shocked by the details and what they uncovered when they arrived on scene. The apartment was filthy, nasty carpet, no furniture, no blankets, no adults there. Just 3 visibly malnourished boys and the skeleton remains of another boy child.
So, I really didn't want to get into it, but in essence, what happened with these boys is they were abandoned and, you know, basically left to fend for themselves. But on top of that, they went through the trauma of actually, they went through the trauma of actually watching one of their siblings like decay before their very eyes. Well, let's continue on.
15-year-old told police he found his brother's body almost a year ago, in November 2020. That was about 1 week before Thanksgiving. He thought his mother, Gloria Williams, would call the police. Instead, she moved out of the apartment with their stepfather, Brian Coulter, and left him there with the body for nearly a year.
So the mother, as you see, the mother that you see basically chose a white zaddy who, I'm not going to show the videos of him, but this white zaddy tried to like play the black card pretty hard. You heard him talk all this slang. You heard him drop N-bombs and stuff like that. There's a couple of videos floating around with him doing that, dropping N-bombs and all of that and stuff like that. And so, again, I don't know what to say. This hit heavy. I'm usually not really an emotional person. I don't really like show my emotions, but when I when I heard this story, I had to step away for a little while, to kind of collect myself before doing this video, this commentary. But as you see, you have a big Shirley with deadbeat Chad. But let's continue.
Along with his two younger brothers. Little known information here, but Gloria Williams also has two daughters. None of them found at this apartment, and I'll tell you why. But before we get into this story, special thank you to Chico, and Harrison G. An apartment in the Houston, Texas area. Brothers. Little known information. Daughters. I appreciate you both, Chico and Harrison, for your support for this content. Take a
shout out to Pink Book Lessons for bringing these kind of things to the limelight, and shout out to women who do actually check other women and things like that, and who actually know that something's wrong, and who actually understand that, that us men who are in the gender war, we're not the cause of the gender war, we're the effect of the gender war in which they started.
Second, to subscribe to this channel, click the notification bell for all updates. If you're new, include new subscriber in your comment below, and I'm going to try my best to get back to all of you. If you're watching from the Houston, Texas area, 4-year-old Gloria Williams and her boyfriend Brian Coulter, along with Gloria's four of them found at this apartment, and I'll tell you. It was year 2020. 34-year-old Gloria Williams and her boyfriend Brian Coulter lived together with Gloria's four.
So she was approaching the wall, or was already at the wall, so she just pretty much snatched up what she can get, even if it meant this Slim Shady wannabe. But let's continue.
4 boys in an apartment in the Houston, Texas area. The youngest at the time was 6 years old, the oldest 14. The teenager and his siblings would often get locked inside of a bedroom while Brian would beat another sibling.
So my thing is this, what's the point of beating a little kid? My thing is what's the point of traumatizing a little kid and possibly giving him disorders and making him upset and angry, growing up in society, being mad at people because of what he had to deal with, coming up. I understand that, God does give trials and tribulations to who he pleases. I understand that. And I can only hope that these kids, that they will have a testimony, and that their testimony will be one of really going through the fire only to rise as a phoenix and excel in anything that they put their mind to. That's the only thing I can hope. Otherwise, it's just going to be a path to self-destruction, because they've already been pretty much set up for that. According to the kids, he would often drink alcohol. All of a sudden, he would get strong and then take it out on them. The mother, she wouldn't do anything. Her teenage son often talked to her about Brian, and she said that she would talk to him, but nothing ever happened. This also has something to do with the fallout between Gloria and one of her 2 daughters. We're going to get to that part in a minute. So my thing is, if she's scared to talk to this guy, why don't you just leave him? If you're scared, why don't you just leave at night or something? Okay? It's no excuse. Just leave. Just leave. That's all you have to do. One day in November 2020, just days before Thanksgiving, the teenage boy was once again locked in another room while the younger boys witnessed Brian punching their autistic brother Kendrick, who was about 8 years old at the time. That's what really hit home for me, is you're punching a kid with disabilities already, and you're just adding to that and he's only 8 years old. Any age, it doesn't matter, but the fact that, you're attacking a kid with disabilities is it's it yeah, I don't know what to say about it at this time. Really kind of at a loss for words. A grown man doing this, like a grown man just doing this to a boy.
Boys watched Brian hit the boy with closed fists and stomp their brother on his face, feet, legs, his behind, and private area. According to the youngest boy, Brian continued to kick Kendrick even after Kendrick stopped moving and says a demonic beast looked at him while he was doing it. Kendrick's
Oh my God. I don't know what to say. So it's obvious that he didn't care that he may have been dead. And the mom didn't do shit. Mom just stood around. Didn't do shit. Yeah, I'm I'm at the point right now where I don't even smile at modern women. I don't even smile at them. If they smile at me, I don't even smile. Because this is disgusting. It really is.
eyes turned black. He was out. That's when Brian covered up his body with a blue blanket. Eventually, the boys pulled back the blanket to find roaches crawling over their brother.
You hear? So, in essence, he was already a carcass. He was at the point where he was a carcass. That's the point that he was at.
Next day, Gloria came in the room. She looked under the cover. That's when she made the other two kids leave the room. She started fussing with Brian, who apologized and told her he lost it. Brian confessed to Gloria and said that he repeatedly punched Kendrick until the boy went to sleep. Now,
I think he meant to say until the boy died. I think that's what he meant to say. He repeatedly did it until he died.
a normal person would call the police, but not Gloria. She did not tell anybody. Instead, she took a trip to San Antonio, Texas with the same guy who beat her son to death in front of her other boys. Think about it. Her son's dead body still in the house almost 200 miles away, back in Houston. Her three other boys at home with the body, watching roaches crawl all over it. Meanwhile, she's hanging out with this guy in San Antonio the day after her son was murdered by this monster. November 23rd, 2020, Brian
and that again, you can unsubscribe if you want. If you're a black Western woman, you can unsubscribe. I don't care. But this is the reason why I will not mess with you guys, because you guys do illogical things and you guys don't take accountability for your actions, and you don't like structure or order. That's the bottom line. Because if you did like structure and order, you would have And she's an example, she would have called the cops. She would have went outside, grabbed the phone, and called 911 and said, I think my kid is deceased. But what does she do? She runs off with this guy who killed her kid and is actually in pictures smiling with him as if everything is all good and hunky-dory.
Gloria was on the way back from San Antonio. They stopped at a convenience store in Luling, Texas. Luling, a small town of about 5,800 people, is 140 miles west of Houston along I-10. He was so intoxicated that the manager of the store believed he was dangerous. Brian also had a gun as well, so the manager called 911 for a welfare check. The police chief said his officer went out to the convenience store, found Brian inside of the car in the driver's seat. Gloria was his passenger. Brian was arrested around 7 a.m. that morning. The police chief also said he cursed out one of his officers. They believed he was high and charged him with possession of marijuana and unlawfully carrying a weapon. He had a .45 caliber handgun on him. Brian was detained at the Caldwell County Jail for less than a week.
So in essence, what her problem was is that she was afraid that she was going to get shot. But of course, let black women tell it. Let Western black women tell it. The grass is greener on Chad's side. Chad wants them more than black dudes do. Chad respects them, treats them right more than the black men do. Let them tell it.
From November 23rd until November 29th when he bonded out. That case in Luling, Texas is still pending. When Brian got out of jail, he and Gloria returned to the Houston area where they got a new apartment about 20 minutes away from the old apartment.
So they didn't even go back to the apartment in which they left the kids at to check on the kids, to see if the kids are, how they're holding up. They didn't even go back. I'm under the impression it was his idea to get a new apartment and stay low key.
They did not want to return to the apartment with the boys because the smell was too bad from the odor of the 8-year-old. Gloria was...
So in essence, they left the boys there to get them sick. It like basically it was better their kids or her kids than her, in essence.
A government.
And the thing is, when you look at it, common sense or logic would tell you, but then again, if family members did come over to get the kids, or family members did come over to take care of the kids, then they will obviously see the dead corpse there too. So that's why that didn't happen.
Program that paid for her rent each month, so she knew that she wouldn't have to worry about eviction for non-payment. She would periodically check on the boys about twice per month to drop off snack food and drinks to them. One of the surviving boys was also autistic. None of them had been in school since May of 2020. And although CPS had a history with this family, they didn't receive any reports about the 3 boys home alone in the apartment. Neighbors would see these kids and give them food from time to time. One neighbor said she gave the oldest boy food, but he would not accept anything but pizza, fruit, and packaged foods. He did not want any cooked food because he was paranoid that someone would intentionally poison them.
So, as you see, the boys, these kids were psychologically damaged, you know. The kids were like already damaged goods, unfortunately. And can you really blame them though? Can you really blame them when they look at their dead brother? You can't really blame them for, being in this situation or this condition, you know? You really can't.
The neighbors also noticed there was a really bad smell coming from the apartment, too. They didn't think much of it. They just assumed that the place was dirty. None of them had a clue that skeleton remains were there. Can you imagine these boys being left there for nearly a year to fend for themselves every day, all while their brother's skeleton is in the next room? These boys at home starving while the whole time Gloria and the Beast, they were all on Instagram showing off their food and fresh tattoos, Valentine's Day gifts, drinking and drugging and living their lives as if nothing ever happened. They posted these pictures here on Instagram showing off their matching tattoos. The tattoo says Warrior. They got these tattoos.
Yeah, they have some nerve getting tattoos called Warriors. I mean, I think a more appropriate tattoo would be shitbags. I think that would be a better tattoo for both of them. It's shitbags. I could be wrong though.
After this incident, fast forward to early October 2021. Gloria and Brian returned to the house to check on the boys. That day, one of the boys, now 10 years old, became Brian's target. The boy says Brian beat him on his legs, his behind, stomach, and face. He punched the little boy in the jaw, causing his face to be swollen. Once again, like all the other times, Gloria did nothing about it. The 10-year-old sat there.
Oh my God. Excuse me for a minute. Just let this be a lesson that most single parents don't like their kids. Or let's just let it be a lesson that most single Western women don't like their kids, and that because of the choices that they made, they take their wrong choices out on their kids for the most part. Let that be a lesson. A single father can raise kids better because if he's stable, if he's like a stand-up guy, or if he's like a guy who's on the square and takes care of his business, a single father can raise kids better, you know. So just understand that like single mothers, especially Western women, single Western mothers are pretty much responsible for the destruction of their kids. You know, that's why you see a lot of them in situations that they're in right now, you know, because of this, you know, because single mothers were told, I can do it alone. I'm a mother and father. I don't need no man. And niggas ain't shit.
They're in pain for 3 weeks. That's until his older brother, the 15-year-old, finally made a phone call on that Sunday, exposing the horror that these kids they've been living in. It was Sunday, October 24th, 2021, when the 15-year-old called 911. When police arrived on the scene, they found the children living in deplorable conditions, and it was apparent that they were not properly being cared for. The surviving kids, malnourished and very thin. Authorities said there was no furniture in the apartment that was infested with insects and the carpet was soiled. They also said the kids had been living.
And so they were probably sleep deprived too, because if the furniture is infested with insects, you can only guess that those insects are probably like bed bugs. And, you know, that saying, don't let the bed bugs bite, is true. You know, so they probably got, it was probably a situation where, you know, they had to deal with that too. They had to deal with like maybe not having, basically even having good night's rest.
Without electricity for months. The body of 8-year-old Kendrick had turned into a skeleton the year before. Nothing was left but bones, teeth, and unattached hair from his head. Another one of the boys, now 10 years old, was taken to the hospital for the blunt trauma to his face and his damaged jaw caused by Brian 3 weeks earlier.
And so what it tells you is that that boy will never be the same, you know. He'll never be the same. As a matter of fact, maybe someone waves at him and he like maybe someone comes close to him, tries to shake his hand or wave at him, and he gets scared because he thinks that someone's going to hit him. And so this is Cynthia G's message, saying that basically maybe we should abort black boys. But these black boys didn't ask to be in the world. These black boys didn't have a choice on who their father is going to be. Is it their fault? Or is it your fault for who you choose?
Doctors say he must undergo surgery because he did not receive medical attention when it initially happened. All 3 children terrified and traumatized when they spoke to police to give their stories on what happened to them and their brother. All of them pointed to Brian and said their mother, Gloria, did not do anything about it. She just left them there alone ever since that horrible day to keep reliving the nightmare every single day because they had a decomposed body there the whole time with them. You had the local news agencies, they jumped on this story right away, interviewing neighbors, former teachers, CPS, and other officials. Houston reporters updating everyone on new developments. You had people shocked and disgusted by this story, waiting for police to find Gloria and Brian. Do you know who else was looking at the news to stay on top of this story? Gloria and the Beast. Yes, Brian and Gloria went to the public library to get on the computer and look up the news reports about their own crimes. On Tuesday, October 26, 2021, police say they found the mother of the abandoned kids and their stepdad in a public library searching for articles about the discovery of the decaying remains of Kendrick, Gloria's 8-year-old son, in her old apartment, and the 3.
This is how you know they're stupid. This is how you know they're stupid as hell. Okay? You can find articles on a smartphone. You can Google articles and those articles will come up. Are you stupid? How stupid can you be? You know, when women, and I hate to say this video is really bringing the worst out of me. May Allah forgive me for it. But the more and more I watch it, the more and more angrier I get with this. But usually when women are emotional, their brain goes out the window. When women are emotionally involved with someone, their logic it goes out the window. You know, modern women when they're connected to like a Chad or a Tyrone or a Pookie or a Ray Ray, they don't have a brain. You know, logic goes out the window.
Starving children that they left there. Police arrested them both. At the time of this recording, Gloria, she's only been charged with injury to a child by omission and tampering with evidence. Her bond was set at $900,000. She is currently behind bars. Brian has been charged with murder, bond set at $1 million. But get this, they are housing Brian at a mental health facility. As for
What they always do. It's what they always do with these people. And I'm pretty sure that he does have mental issues. Okay, I'm pretty sure he does have that. I'm pretty sure that, you know, alcoholism isn't just one of them. I'm pretty sure he has a host of them. But, you have to expect that this was going to happen.
the kids, they have since been taken into CPS care. The 10-year-old is scheduled for surgery to address the broken bones in his face. Investigators questioned Gloria.
And you know, I hate to say this. Yeah, I wasn't a victim of child protective services, but I have a lot of homies who were, you know, I have a lot of homies who I got to know and who I got to be close with. I had a lot of homies who, you know, were like products of child protective services and foster homes and stuff like that. And it's just not a good look for the kids. Really isn't a good look, you know, for kids. If you know, deal with foster homes, you don't really have a good, a stable foundation. A lot of my homies ran away from them, you know. Many times they will run away from foster homes, you know.
Why didn't she report Brian? Why didn't she do anything about it? She said because Brian told her not to. According to Gloria, she was afraid her kids would get taken away by CPS and she would go to jail. Well, Gloria,
she didn't even care about those kids. Get the hell out of here. The fact of the matter is that you were showing that you got matching tattoos. You were showing nasty looking ass spaghetti and steaks and stuff like that. Means you were complacent in what he was doing. You could have easily went somewhere. Okay, because granted he's mentally unstable. You could have went somewhere, called the cops, called the authorities, and tell the authorities your situation, that, hey, you know, this is kind of what's going on right now. I don't know what to do. I'm kind of in the jam. How can we work this out? How can we make a solution? You could have easily did that, but you chose not to. So miss me with that shit with, oh, I'm afraid that they were going to take away my kids. Yeah, I was going to go to jail. Well, you're in jail now.
CPS took your kids, and now you're in jail for the cover-up. Oh yeah, you're in general population, while Brian is at the mental health facility. Gloria, now 35 years old, is a horrible mother. She allowed Brian, now 31 years old, to come into her apartment and abuse all of her kids.
Yeah, you know, you see what the wall does to women. Makes them just go for desperation. They just become desperate when they're about to hit the wall. So basically what happens with single mothers, especially single mothers who have a lot of kids, any piece of shit ass guy will do most of the time.
We've heard many reports of the 4 boys, but we haven't heard much about her daughters. That's because they were not at the house and the public did not know that she had daughters too. Fresh information indicated that the 3 kids picked up from the apartment are not Gloria's only kids. She reportedly has 2 daughters. One is in the custody of her paternal grandmother, while the other is still missing at the time of this recording. Melody Robinson, the paternal grandmother to one of Gloria's...
That's all bad. I just hope the daughter, the one who's missing, is okay. I just hope wherever she is, she's in a good place, man. And I hope she doesn't come back, that she doesn't pop up like done, because obviously her mom didn't give a shit. And this is how it works. There was one woman who looks like a hippopotamus who, if you knew me at the beginning of my, kind of like at the beginning of this social aspect of my channel, you would know I was covering this cult leader by the name of Nature Boy, and he recruited this no good ass woman who had 8 kids as well, and she left her 8 kids behind to be with this this conscious Pookie Ray Ray ass nigga, But yeah.
Daughters told reporters that she believed Gloria was never a good mother. Ms. Robinson says Gloria had 2 girls. They're now 17 and 13 years old. The 13-year-old is with her son. That's her granddaughter. The 17-year-old daughter was with another man, and Ms. Robinson is the sole guardian of the 13-year-old girl. She said her son was dating Gloria around 2005 after already having 2 kids from different fathers. Eventually, her missing at the time of this recording. To Ms. Robinson, while she went to rekindle a relationship with her oldest son's father, who lived in Baton around 2005 after already having 2 kids, that she believed Gloria was never a good mother. Ms. Robinson says Gloria had 2 girls. They're now 17 and 13 years old. The 13-year-old is with her son. That's her granddaughter. The 17-year-old daughter was with another man, and Ms. Robinson is the sole guardian of the 13-year-old girl. She said her son was dating Gloria around 2005 after already having 2 kids from different fathers. Eventually, her son and Gloria, they broke up. She lost.
So this woman just rode cock carousels left and right, and you wonder why I come at Western women. You guys give me so much ammo, it's not even funny. But it does take some fortitude to actually do this. It takes a lot of patience too, to not like just put all of them under the bus, for their stupidity. But yeah, basically just having a free-for-all. And you would think that maybe after one kid, you would be like, oh shoot, maybe I should settle down, since I'm bringing life into this universe. Maybe 2 kids, you're like, oh shoot, maybe I should reevaluate myself. But no, she waited until 8 kids later, and didn't even wait until 8 kids later.
Contact with her until she gave birth to her granddaughter. When the girl was only 2 weeks old, Gloria dropped off the baby to live with her, but returned to get her not long after that. Then, when the daughter was about 2 years old, Gloria gave the baby back to Ms. Robinson while she went to rekindle a relationship with her oldest son's father, who lived in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
So what happens is this. What happens is this, and listen carefully. You see what's going on with Jada and Will. What happens is that when a Pookie or a Ray Ray lays it down, then they're going to try to change that Pookie or Ray Ray, no matter what, or they're just going to be hooked on Pookie and Ray Ray. They never will get over him, Never. So this is why she did the things that she did.
Miss Robinson says she always invited Gloria to family functions, but she never wanted to see her daughter. The 13-year-old girl is living a better life compared to her brothers and her older sister. The oldest kid, the now 17-year-old girl, was reportedly kicked out of the apartment after she got into an argument with Brian. She was 15 years old when she was thrown out of the house by Gloria and forced to spend about 2 years on the streets. When the oldest kid was 15.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Ya Allah. Ya hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi ali azim. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So, I'm going to call this woman out her name. So this bitch didn't even care if her daughter was going to be possibly driven into prostitution because of the fact that she kicked her out and left her to fend for herself. If you don't want kids, take a damn plan B. Or let the man wear a damn condom. If you don't want kids. Don't subjugate kids and make their lives bad. Okay? Those kids are innocent and they didn't do anything. They didn't ask to be in the world. You took it upon yourself to have them. And obviously you're not getting shit in the form of child support from them, for them. So chill the hell out.
10 years old, living with Brian, Gloria, and her 4 brothers, she got into a fight with Brian, attempting to protect her little brothers from abuse. Gloria sided with Brian and kicked her out on the streets at 15 years old. CPS got a hold of the girl when she ended up at the hospital one day. That's when Ms. Robinson allowed her to come stay with her and the younger daughter. Not sure what happened, but the oldest daughter is no longer at Ms. Robinson's house. She's been listed as a missing person since September. Another paternal grandmother of one of the boys spoke out, 71-year-old Linda Smith. She was upset by the news and said all of the boys lived with her at one point, and she's regretting that she did not adopt them. Ms. Smith says Gloria was never like this before, saying that she became a new person when she met Brian. So you have 2 grandmothers here. One says Gloria was always a good mother. The other says Gloria was always a bad mother. Gloria's family members also spoke to reporters. They said they had no clue what was going on because Gloria shut them out. They never knew her apartment number. She would just meet them at the front if they came by. She would often move from apartment to apartment, change her phone number every 3 months. When they would ask her about the kids, she would just say they're in school or would tell them that they're okay. They said that she was also receiving disability checks from the government for the kids as well. Her cousin Yasmin said that her mother...
So those disability checks, so that's what it was about too, collateral. That's why she didn't want the kids taken away. It was about collateral, so they can get money for, so she can get money for his sorry ass. That's what happened.
Wanted to take custody of Kendrick from the time that he was born. She knew that she could not properly care for all those kids, but Gloria refused. According to Yasmin, Kendrick was...
And the reason why she refused is because she wanted to check.
Autistic and nonverbal. When he would come around her, all he did was smile. He was very playful and he would laugh with her. Out of Gloria's 6 kids, 1 boy is dead. The other boy's in CPS custody. 1 girl living with her grandmother. And the oldest girl still missing. I do not feel sorry for Gloria. I feel sorry for all these kids, traumatized by this situation. The 13-year-old girl, she's been removed from the chaos, yet I'm sure she's still impacted by all of this over the years, so I feel horrible for her too. Those 3 boys living in that apartment for a year all alone, fending for themselves. and even still getting abused 3 weeks before the authorities got involved. These poor boys witnessing their brother being beat to death remained in the house while his body decomposed. No electricity, no furniture, no blankets, just sitting there on dirty carpet, just snack food here and there. While Gloria and Brian, they didn't miss a meal. And then the oldest daughter, thrown out on the street because she fought against the abuser to protect her brothers from him. There's no telling what and who she's been exposed to out there in the streets. This is a horrible story, probably the worst I've ever covered here. I really hate that this happened to all these kids. If I could be the judge in this case, Brian would, one, be moved from a mental health facility. Nothing is wrong with him. He's just a devil. He should be sentenced to death. And I also...
Yeah, he should. Under Islamic law, he would be sentenced to death. Under Islamic law, West African Islamic law, his head would be chopped off. Wouldn't live. He killed a kid. Head off with his head. Period. And yeah.
I hope that prosecutors upgrade the charges for Gloria so that she can get the death penalty too. They worked hard for capital punishment. They deserve that. Sending condolences to all of the family members impacted by these horrible...
So, I'm going to tell you something. If you've been rocking with me, you know I'm South Central cut. My homies have similar stories like this where their mom chooses a Pookie or a Ray Ray, and that Pookie or Ray Ray just disrespects them, beats them, exposes them to shit that they shouldn't see. And so they end up basically getting put on the hood or something like that because homies, like, as crazy as it sounds, and I'm not trying to glorify it, but what you see about hoods is not real when you see it on film or something like that. It's not really real. You know, it's deeper than that. It's deeper than just ignorance. You really kind of build like a brotherhood based on like morals and like being solid and being like there for your brother. Because your parents usually 9 out of 10 times aren't going to be there for you. Because single mothers make choices like this. Single mothers choose to have men like this. And that's just how it goes. So the moral I'm trying to get across to this story is that if you're a man and you're on your square, don't try to save a single mother. Don't try it. And if you're a single mother and you know the father is stable and on his purpose and doing what he needs to do, give the kid to the single father. And don't do this. Sad that most of it happens with the black in the black community, that single mothers do this to their kids. I'm not saying it doesn't happen in other communities, but it definitely happens most here. I'm going to end this video or this commentary right now because I'm at this point I'm really speechless. Really am.